Today I wanted to do a quick video on how to use a measuring tape, and we are referring to woodworking related measuring tapes right now. So we have different types. This would be a level really, but we would use this generally if we are making sure a shelf is level. You can see the bubble on it. This isn't a post about levels, so we're not going to talk about that. But it's got our measurements here. It's got a straight edge. So if I'm drawing two marks on a piece of wood and I need to draw a line from it, I can use this as a straight edge. I would never use a traditional measuring tape like that. So this is useful in certain circumstances, particularly for building furniture. I also have a longer one, but it's still not super long. So you're only going to be able to do smaller projects with this. This one's 16 foot and this one's 25 feet. And these are 1 inch wide measuring tapes. You could add a nail here to hold your measuring tape in place so that you don't need two people. I love these type of measuring tapes. So I purchased measuring tapes that have all of the units on it. That makes my life a lot easier because I do not remember the 1/8 or the 1/16 or any of that. So it's really helpful for me if it's already on there, so I'm not accidentally messing up. You'll notice this one, the green one, is shorter, but it also has the smaller units. And I also like that it has the multiple colors. This is a matter of being able to see the lines easily and mark them correctly so that my brain isn't tricked and writing the wrong things down. Professionals probably have a better eye for this, but being able to see the individual marks, have them each marked out, have different colors on there is a huge difference for me. So you want to note that each one has a different size. This is a 100-foot. Love this. It has a clip here, and that could be useful in some cases. But you also have your piece here that you can attach to things. If I flip that, you could see this has a little sharp edge that you can push into the wood to hold on. Now, depending if you were doing furniture work, you might not want to do that because you'd have a mark in your wood. But if you were measuring something like a fence line, who cares? I have not seen a large one like this that does the individual smaller measurements, so you're out of luck. But it makes sense. It's got the big measurements you need, and for something like measuring a fence line, you don't need those smaller measurements. It's got your feet mark, and I love it. It works really well. I think it's very useful to have a large measuring tape like this. The last one that I can't show you because I don't own one, but I want one, is I always see contractors come out and they have a wheeling one that wheels along the ground and measures for them. Those look awesome. Again, don't have one, but I think they would be really nice to have for measuring things like fence lines. Again, this only goes to 100 feet. Something like a fence line, I'm gonna have to have someone else hold it and then measure from one point to one point and then from that point to another point. It's gonna take me a long time. This, using one of those roller ones like a contractor has, is gonna be much quicker and much more accurate than what I can do with this. And I'm sure there are slightly longer ones of these, but again, nothing quite as good as having that roll. But if I can find one, I'll link it in the blog post. Not a whole lot to figuring out the measuring tape. I hate the imperial system. I wish I'd never learned it. I wish I'd learned the metric system instead because I've studied the metric system in school. It's a lot more logical to follow. And I really hate that we are forced to get the measurements or in one or the other on a lot of apps that help with measurements. For example, my 3D printer requires me to pick one or the other. My laser cutter requires me to pick one or the other. And I'd rather it just list both because then maybe eventually I would actually pick up on the metric system easier. But my brain works in inches because that's what I've always used. When you're looking at this, you're really just measuring from the end of your measuring tape to the point that you are measuring to. So if I was measuring the width of this here, I'm going to say, I'm probably going to call this 23 inches. It might look like it's shorter here, but the full width is going to be 23 inches with the side if you include this edge here. I hope that was helpful. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.